Segment 3, Gold and Black Live, joined by Willie Deane. And Willie, you've been a lot of things to a lot of people just in your life, but you were like my two children who are now 30 and 27, 28. You were their favorite player. Man, they were weaned on Purdue basketball, watching number 0 run race. There still hasn't been anybody faster from baseline to baseline than Willie Deane, in my view, Purdue basketball. Willie, welcome to the show. This is the highlight of your media career, but thank you for taking the time to join us.
Well, it's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and those Purdue basketball fans know Willie Deane. He led the Big Ten in points per game in 2002. Interesting story because you started at Boston College. You have a degree from Boston College, then transfer to Purdue. I always laugh because I was working, I don't know where, with Gold and Black at the time, and I can remember you coming in and you kind of landed on Gene Keady's doorstep. But talk about how you got. I mean, it was fortuitous for Purdue because they got a guy of your talent to play for them, and Gene Keady and company. But how that journey came, growing up in Fort Wayne, going to Chestnut Hill, and then coming back to West Lafayette. Revisit that story a little bit.
Okay, well, I graduated from high school in 1998.
Yeah.
And so we won a state championship in Schenectady, New York in 1998. Yeah. Schenectady is a real small town, but it was put on the map by a gentleman by the name of Pat Riley. So Pat Riley and I are from the same city, same hometown, and a state championship hadn't been won until we won it since Pat Riley. So it was a long time coming, and that state championship is what put our city back on the map. And from there, opportunities presented itself. One of those being an opportunity to continue to play collegiately at Boston College. So I went to Boston College for a year, and things didn't work out there. My father's job was transferred from New York. He was working for GE at the time, and was transferred to Fort Wayne.
Right. That's
so, unbeknownst to me, my father had reached out to the basketball office at Purdue before I even made the trip out to Indiana, because I originally after I left Boston College, I signed up to take college classes summer classes at Purdue. So I was there taking summer classes and had no idea that my father had a kind of private meeting with Coach Frank Kendricks. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Coach Kendricks, because to be honest, if it wasn't for I would have never had the opportunity to even be introduced to Coach Keady and to eventually walk on the basketball team. So, I was taking classes at Purdue in the summertime, while also became very close friends with Yukari Figs. And upon meeting Yukari Figs, we used to go to the gym a lot. So she used to bring me into Mackey. I used to rebound for her, and one of the only people to this day that used to beat me in horse. But
but he was a great player.
Right, exactly. So but in case she used to take me to the co-rec and stuff, and we used to run the courts there, and everybody would say, "Oh, why don't you try out for the team?" And it had never crossed my mind, because once I left Boston College, I was just going to study at Purdue, get my degree, and that be it. But I was playing in the co-rec, and word travels fast, because some of the guys that were on the team were also playing in the co-rec. So I went into a meeting with Coach Kendricks, and from then he introduced me to Coach Keady and Coach Lehman, who was the strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, Greg Lehman.
And so I was allowed to eventually work out with the team, and I walked on, and the rest was history after that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Purdue has had that tradition of guys, and obviously you were a scholarship level player at Boston College, but having the opportunity, the guy named Jim Rowinski walked on, won the Big Ten MVP. Willie Deane, first team All-Big Ten at Purdue. there's a tradition of some guys like that that made the most of their chances. I got to think those guys at the co-rec, when they watched you in about 30 seconds, they said, this guy can fly, and you could. I mean, that is interesting. Yukari Figs, of course, that was the 1999
Yes.
NCAA championship team, and
Yep.
Yukari was as good a point guard as Purdue's, as the Big Ten's ever had in women's basketball.
Correct.
But terrific talent. All right, you came back, and you and I had. It was funny because I'm sitting next to you, and I looked to my left, and I go, that looks like Willie Deane. And I knew, and Elliot Bloom had reached out and said, hey, you know, you're going to be in, and then my God, it was. So you had a chance to be in Mackey Arena in November. You watched the women play, I think you said, and of course the men. What was it like for you to be back in the building? And I don't know how often you've been back since you left, because you've been overseas for so long. But talk about that.
Correct. Well, I take my family back every year. You know, they had a chance to see Edie the previous year, and then,
you did. Okay, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
good
so they took pictures with him. They couldn't believe he was so tall.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
But I also had a chance to see Edie again this past summer at the Las Vegas Summer League. So I had a chance to go down and introduce myself, because I'm much older than they are. So it was nice. It was nice to actually get to meet him and see him be successful at the next level, especially when so many people were questioning whether he would be able to make the transition from college to a professional. But I never doubted it, because I saw, even though he didn't shoot threes and stuff, he had a very soft touch, nice form, and you could see that by his free throws, and very nice touch around the basket, very very unselfish. So I knew he'd be successful in the NBA as well.
All right, as a Purdue basketball alum, the moment that Purdue beat Tennessee and was heading to the Final Four, what were your thoughts? Because it was a collective Purdue basketball family moment, certainly. But what did you take? Just last year's amazing run, Zach Edey, obviously a big part of that. But what was that moment like for you?
Well, I was so happy for them. You know, it brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
I was so happy for Coach Painter. You know, he works very hard, and not only that, Coach Keady was able to be there. So he was able to live that moment, and because Coach Keady and Coach Painter definitely have a special relationship, and it was just nice for because the mentor to finally be on that stage and see one of his products make it to the Final Four as a Purdue fan. So it was nice in more ways than one. I was happy for the team, happy for Coach Painter, and then I was also happy for Coach Keady to be able to see that as well.
All right, you had the chance to, you watched Braden Smith play, and he is terrific. And
before you start, I'd like to say congratulations to Braden Smith on his milestone that he reached with the points, assists, and rebounds. That's a tremendous accomplishment, and looking for great things from him.
Yeah, amazing. It's Magic Johnson level good. I mean, he's, in terms of the Big Ten, he is just he has been unbelievable. He was great again last night. But you watch a team, and you watched a lot of basketball internationally, and watch teams mold. This year's team doesn't have number 15 in the middle, and Zach Edey. They don't have Lance Jones either. And you were a more skilled offensive guy than Lance Jones was. But Lance Jones, your ability both to speed dribble and handle the ball at the full court. He's trying to get Jakari Harris and CJ Cox, a guy kind of in your neighborhood now. CJ's really been a nice surprise. But talk about what you see with this team and what you like from the guard play, because it's pretty good. Fletcher Lawyer's not too bad either.
Yes, well, any team that's going to lose what they've lost with Edey is going to feel it. But the team has been doing a tremendous job of making it a collective effort and, balancing the scoring and guys stepping up when it's needed. So, I'm still looking for big things from Purdue. And the good thing about it is that, there's no one guy that they come in there and can say that they need to stop this guy and we'll win. Because it's real collective effort. Braden Smith is the head of that snake.
Yeah.
But you know, we have a bunch of guys that are working together to accomplish one goal. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And again, the coaching staff, not
right,
only Matt Painter, but Brandon Brantley on down the line. That you guys, I don't know how
right.
much chance you had to mingle with those guys, but you would like them all. They're
Yes,
just a really
yep,
good
yep.
organization, to say the least. All right, you get to sport that Purdue garb in Albany. And now you go to the Final Four, and you got a Zach Edey. People know who you are more. I mean, they know who you are anyway. But I mean, in terms of that wearing that Purdue stuff, what's that like? Being in former Big East country, I suppose, but it's got to be a little bit of pride to be able to wear that Purdue stuff.
Well, it's definitely some pride because with them making to the Final Four last year, it kind of put Purdue on the map in the East Coast.
Yeah,
Because he played against UConn, so a lot of people from the East
yeah,
Coast were tuning in to before I went to Purdue, we didn't see much
yeah,
Purdue on TV. It was always the Northeast team. Syracuse was the primary team that was televised in this area. St. John's
yeah,
and teams like in the Northeast. So it was great that Purdue was able to make it to the Final Four and even the championship to put Purdue on the map, not only in the Midwest but throughout the whole United States, really.
yeah. No question. All right, your amazing journey, and then we're going to get into what you're doing now, which is really important stuff. But I have to I put the graphic up here. You won 3 Bulgarian
Correct.
championships, a Bulgarian Cup. You played 15 years overseas.
Yes.
Seas.
Yes.
It's probably
Yes.
not easy to put that all in a capsule, but talk about that experience and how that maybe changed you. I mean, you were always very intellectually capable and a smart guy,
Right.
but that had that
Right.
opportunity to do something that was really unique and a life changer for just about anybody to have that experience in those different countries and situations.
So if I would have been told as a child that I would have traveled to countries like Russia and Turkey and Greece and Italy and Spain, I wouldn't have even believed it. But to have the opportunity through the sport, the game of basketball, to go and not only travel the world but live in countries like Russia and Italy and Spain in Bulgaria, and to also not only just live in those countries but to learn the cultures and also get some accomplishments like in championships in Europe.
Yeah.
It is definitely something that I never would have fathomed in our biggest dreams.
Does it make you hopeful? I mean, here we are in a world that's got challenges everywhere we turn. Not only in the United States, we do, and we're polarized more than we need to be. But also, we got to get along with everybody. I mean,
Correct.
from
Correct.
the Russians to the Bulgarians to the French to the Italians. What does it make you hopeful that we can do that? This is an overly philosophical question, I understand, but
Right.
in terms of just meeting people and being around all these people, you're not dealing. You may have had to deal with governments a little bit, certainly in your
Right. Correct.
basketball work, but talk about that and just what can make you optimistic as we move forward as a people well into the 21st century.
Well, just the cultural experience, and then what basketball does is that it bridges the gap between cultures. I was able to go over and live in the country and form relationships with people that we didn't even speak the same language,
Yeah,
but we built a brotherhood through the sport of basketball and the friendships and bonds that I was able to make, and I still have to this day. So just traveling throughout the cultural experience that I was able to gain, the cultural capital that I was able to gain traveling throughout Europe, and then the friendships and the bonds that I was able to make while over there are everlasting. I have friends that I still talk to this day that live in Russia and also in Ukraine, and it's
yeah,
just unfortunate, what those countries are going through at the moment. But you know, I build bonds over there and friendships that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Did you have a favorite place of those? If you were going to go back and live, would you pick? Uh, would you pick any one of those four places that was extra special for you in terms of experience?
Well, you know, Russia probably had the largest impact on my life because
Yeah,
when I went to Russia, that was my third year overseas, and I was living in a country of approximately 40,000, and I was one of two people of color in the whole city.
yeah. I'm going to
So,
say,
that was really a culture shock, a language shock, but it ultimately ended up being a place that I you know hold dear to my heart because I spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe,
yeah.
and I was even able to speak the language. So that's one of the languages that I do speak is Russian because I spent 4 years in Russia and then two in Ukraine, and in the cities that I was living in Ukraine, they also spoke Russian. So so that
How,
city probably that country had the largest impact on my life.
Boy, and learning Russian, that language is, I've heard it, especially they always say you want to learn languages when you're 5 years old. When you're an
Right.
adult,
Yes.
that
Yes.
makes it extra tough. And not to cast aspersions about the political world, but
Right.
how the Ukraine Russian conflict is difficult, and there's many
It is.
different
Yeah.
factors to it.
Yeah.
Is there hope there in your view? And you talk to people and people that are living a very difficult situation. How do you
Right.
not necessarily how do you
Right.
view that, but what makes you hopeful that somehow we can get to a resolution of this conflict down the road without really messing up the entire world, which it could do if
Right.
things
Right.
don't go
Right.
right.
Well, just, not to get too political, but I just keep both of the countries in my prayers as
Yeah,
many people are doing, and just hopefully that they're able to come to a resolution sooner than later because you know many lives have been lost and many
yeah.
people have been affected. I have family members on both sides that I'm very close with, and who are affected by the current situation. And I just wish and pray for the best for both countries.
All right. Well, tell us now, because sitting in looks like a library. You've been reading the
Correct, correct.
last this morning, but so you're doing as they say God's work from doing this. But talk about that and what is keeping you busy. And also, had a chance to see some of your family too. To, share with this
Yes. So
that impact on you as well.
correct. So my wife and I have been married for 16 years. My oldest daughter, Suhan, is 14. I have a younger daughter named Celine, who is 9, and then my son Jihan is 3. So, but aside from that, by profession, I'm an electrician. So I do contracting work and electrical work. I stayed around the game of basketball. Right now, I'm mentoring 25 plus young girls. Most of them do not have a father in their life, so I'm mentoring 25 plus girls under my nonprofit, Life Enrichment Inc. And through the sport of basketball is just the hook to
Yeah.
teach them about science and math and English. So it's primarily an academic program, but we teach them science through the sport of basketball, and that's how we get them to. We use the basketball as the hook to pull them in, and then teach them what they really need to know to be successful in life.
And we'll put links to and Life Enrichment Inc. Have a website, I assume, and we can ways to
Yes. so
contact you from this. Tell
so
us a little
right
bit about that.
right now, we have the Instagram. The website is under construction, but
Okay.
um, I can be reached on my cell phone any time in regards to it. 518 Life Enrichment Inc. on Instagram, and life is actually an acronym. So there's a period after each letter, of life, and loyalty, integrity, faith, and education. That's what life stands for. So the Instagram is L period I period F period E period enrichment.
All right, we'll make sure we have links to that as well,
All
and
right.
it is important. What got you? I mean, again, you've had, too much is given, much is expected. I suppose you
Correct.
probably have used that mantra. I'm guessing, just because, not that things were easy for you, because they weren't easy for you as a basketball player, Purdue.
Right.
You
Right.
had to find your way, and you went from
Correct.
being a walk on to being a Big Ten all Big Ten level player. But talk
Correct.
about that, and just what makes you tick from that standpoint, and why that need to give back is critical to you and your family.
Right. So one of the reasons why I give back is that I never had somebody who was successful come back and help us become successful.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are from Schenectady and in my area, Albany, they who are successful, they move on, and they never look back. So I felt that it was important, and in order for me to change that narrative, I came back and tried to help people become or even surpass some of the things that I've accomplished, and so I come back to help and share my experiences and help fast track kids progress and in hopes of them surpassing things that I was able to achieve. But
Good for you. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of people don't know what I went through in my journey. Leaving, going from Boston College, and then walking on at Purdue. One of the things, like, a lot of people are surprised to hear about is the year that I led the Big Ten in scoring. I was paying for school out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
So
Unbelievable.
a lot of people don't really know how tough that was. That year at Purdue. They see, oh, Willie led the Big Ten in scoring, but they didn't know that I was paying out of pocket, and had my mom had a co-sign for a loan, and all of these things. So, but
And I was going to say, you now in today's world, and I'm not making light of in not of today's world, NIL.
right, right,
You'd have been a good, very different situation. And how do you view that? I mean, in terms of that, I mean, it's great opportunities for athletes at this level. I mean, without
correct,
question,
correct,
it's an athlete's world, and maybe going to balance back in some fashion. But talk about that, just the fact that it is an opportunity. It's not only an opportunity like you did to make the most out of your
right,
opportunity from a
right,
college education standpoint,
right,
but the opportunity to not only have some funds while you play is a
correct,
give you a
correct.
great jump start.
Well, it's well deserved. It should have been that way for some time now,
Yeah,
because a lot, the NCAA as well as the universities, they make a nice sum off the jersey sales, and
yeah,
so it's great that student athletes are able to have an opportunity to change their lives earlier than later, because everybody can't make it professionally, but the opportunity to get an NIL in college is going to help people make change their lives without having to play professionally. So,
yeah. Willie had a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. Played with guys like Chris Booker,
correct. Yes.
and
Yes.
Melvin Buckley still had that great game
Yes.
against
Yes.
LSU. Brandon
Yep. Yep.
McKnight, one of the
Great.
best people. I mean, really a great guy. I don't know how.
Yes.
Do you have a chance to stay and do you have a chance
I
to stay
do.
in contact with some of those guys?
I stay in touch with all three of those guys. Chris Booker and Brandon McKnight, probably more so than Melvin Buckley, but we're all very good friends. Brandon and I always get our kids together every year, a couple times, and then also Chris Booker and I always get together.
Where's Chris these days?
So Chris is in Texas, yes, and
Okay, so
then
back in Texas.
Brandon is in right there on the border of Indiana and Michigan.
Right.
So he's right there. So
Yeah, we talked to Brandon time too. Positive person, great individual, and you guys were
yeah,
fast. That's all I remember. Man, Brandon McKnight was fast. You were fast. It was a good, very, very good backcourt in the later years of Coach Gene Keady's time. Willie, we're going to do this again because I want us to work. Now that we've reconnected, we'll stay connected because I really enjoyed this opportunity. We'll make sure too that we get the links so that you can not only support what Willie's doing, but learn more about it. There's a lot there. There's a lot to the Willie Deane story and what he's done, and not only in basketball, but in life. So thanks so much, Willie. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I want to thank State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com and Triple X on the hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. And of course, we want to thank Chris Collar and Madison Kopp back at WLFI for helping making today's show happen. We'll be off next week. We'll be back on the 24th for Gold and Black Live, but so we'll look forward to doing that as well. So Willie, again, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll look forward to talking to you before long.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
All right. Thank you. Same to you. And Happy New Year to everybody along the line.